central organization of police specialists, fighting crime in a future time.
Welcome back to Retro Wednesday at the Tide here. Hangar. This is Mike. Today I want to talk to you about cops and crooks and the reveals at Sdcc and other stuff that is going on with cops and crooks. Have a little quick discussion on Retro Wednesday and some really good looking stuff from, of course, the Bigbad workshop or Bigbad toy store, sort of, in a way. And we'll do a little bit of comparison to the vintage and all that good stuff. And right now we've got Chicken Fried Toys with a 3.75 inch, 4 inch scale, 1/18 scale versions of their figures. And there's 2 more up for pre-order, but they won't get made unless we get enough pre-order. So I'm going to link that down below so that you can get in on that and help bring these to life if you're interested in Cops and Crooks in the 1/18 scale, or basically G.I. Joe scale, the Lord scale. And of course, I've got more to talk about that's in the lines of speculation and a little more facts coming up on this Retro Wednesday. Okay, so for the 6-inch or the 1/12 scale, we've already got Bulletproof. Now, it is confirmed, or at least in one of the videos I heard, that the Bigbad Toy Shop is going to bring him back out in another run when they run the next 2. But generally, they're not going to do second runs of them. It's more or less, Bulletproof was the first one, was very, very popular, and so they're going to do another run, is my understanding what's going to go on. And so when the other 2 come up for order, then we should get the Bulletproof. I think it's very smart. I think it's really good that they're doing that. But then after that run, if you miss out, then I don't think they're going to run it again. It's just kind of one of the things that they do. But I don't know. I don't know for a fact. I mean, we're talking a relatively new toy company, the Bigbad Workshop, that's only been going for 2 years. So they don't really have a history to establish, aside from, of course, what they've done the last 2 years. So first off, I want to get into Long Arm. So they've got the official picture of Long Arm. Now, they did show this at Sdcc, but these official pictures, I think, are a little bit better angle than what you were getting at Sdcc. So there's a lot of really cool stuff about it. You get his brown nightstick, which is shaped different. It's shaped more like one of the other characters' nightsticks, instead of just it was made vintage as just a stick with a hook on the end to hook on his belt. Now it's more like a real nightstick. He appears to have a gun or laser pistol on his other side, and he's got, of course, his long arm extending handcuffs and his signature gun, which is scaled down because it doesn't have a cap mechanism in it. And overall, I think he looks really good. Also, like I've said before, this figure could work as just a standard beat cop. So you could get multiples, just have cops in the background, police in the background, if, you know, that's what you want. And understanding is he will have similar accessories to kind of what Bulletproof had, with the extra hands and stuff like that. So that would be expected. A removable hat, of course, and probably one additional portrait. And I will say, let's get a side-by-side going on versus the vintage. So now you can kind of see the difference in the nightstick that I'm talking about. Obviously, the difference in the arm gizmo mechanism. I would assume you could unplug the cuffs on the new one and put in, you know, a longer one of those extending cuffs, and you can probably get one that's already like pre-cuffed to go around. I guess, I assume too much, but the old one was a fun play mechanism. This is more going to be a fun display mechanism, and how it goes. You can see this different size in the guns and the different differentiation and all of that. And then, of course, he doesn't have a hip holster. I think it's a leg holster for the vintage one. So the new one just took a little bit of liberties, but still looks pretty good, and still basing it off of, you know, an olden days beat cop. We don't actually have packaging for the new figure, but we assume it's going to look pretty much like what we saw so far with Bulletproof. But this is the vintage one, and, you know, shout out to Figure Realm for hosting this. Really, I very seldom see this figure show up carded, so it looks foreign in a way, because I just almost never see this thing carded. But just kind of some fun there. And we get the idea of kind of package. Next up, we've got good old Dr. Bad Vibes. And is it Buzz Bomb, his robot? Now, they were originally sold. I guess we could do the packaging shots since I'm feeling packaging shoddy right now. So it was sold together as a set. So 2-in-1. And so is this one. My understanding, it will be a set of figures. And it looks pretty good. It's going to look pretty good. Match up to the vintage. Because you always want to match the vintage in a way, but you also want improvements. And guess what? This one does improve. I am concerned how this is going to work in editing, but I'm going to flip the script when we compare the robots. But as you can see, the Bad Vibes himself looks so much better than the vintage figure. I always thought the vintage figure was way too skinny and just looked a little bit off. Just really weird. Which, I mean, I guess the weird was the cool part, though. And then now the new one looks more like a human. Still a thin human, but more like a human and less like, what, an alien or something? And the glasses look a little bit more realistic, like you would wear glasses like that. And then the brain going a little bit higher up in his little dome. In this dome there. His brain swells when he's thinking, I guess. But pretty cool stuff. And now we're going to flip the script and we're going to look at the bots. Okay, so a little buzz bomb here. These are both the ones that were buying up the Lara Crofts in the Classified series. Bots. Anyway, if you notice, he's got the kind of saw on the right arm, and then on the left, you've got room for a gun. Now, the way this figure works is that the robot can hold the gun through another kind of a port attachment that would attach to it. That's how it works. There's just like a little something sticking out of the side of the gun, and that plugs into the hole, and it can hold the gun. So carrying over the same gimmick, and it's still going to work like that, which looks pretty good. Now, of course, this is going to have the brain painted and on the robot, and then it's going to have some more paint on the chest and all the circuitry and all that kind of stuff. So that is a big improvement. So it does look pretty good, and we're getting a lot out of this, but not a lot of simple accessories that we know of so far. Probably some different hands, though, for the actual Bad Vibes figure, which that works pretty good for me. Now, they said they're going to do waves of 2, Bigbad Workshop's doing waves of 2 going forward, and then this next wave of 2 will have, my understanding, more Bulletproofs with it. Now, I don't think they have any plans to make vehicles, and I doubt that it's profitable to make vehicles. It's probably just profitable enough to make these figures. So with all of that, and that's going on, I think it's smart to, if you want the figures, the vehicles, you might want to pick them up now. And I haven't really messed with my figure yet, but I assume they all still fit fine in vintage vehicles. You can make it work. If they're a little too big, the upgraded articulation will help it cram in there and work just fine. But I believe they'd all work pretty fine with the ones. If they're already 6-inch figures, you're just adding half an inch. What a difference half an inch makes. I do want to talk about these Chicken Fried Toys 1/18 scale 4-inch figures. Now, we're going to get Button McBoom Boom, and we're getting Roadblock, which is renamed to Leadfoot because of license and because it's 2026 and that's how life is. So with that, they're going to be 30 each. If they don't get a minimum number of orders on the Chicken Fried Toys site, they're not going to go forward with production, which is kind of sad, and they look really good. And I also like the fact they're doing different characters than what's getting done with Bigbad Workshop, almost coordinated there. Even though they don't scale together, it would get kind of redundant buying the same exact figure in different scales over and over and over. So that works pretty fine. Here is kind of a real life picture of what they really real deal look like, and I think they look pretty good. I'm not sure about the silver on the Roadblock, but it looks good. I just don't know if that was animation accurate. I have to go back and check that. And he looks like he's gonna have a holster for his gun, a big old badge on his chest, which works really well. And that gun is huge. And he did have a holster in the vintage. We'll check all that here in just a little bit. And then we've got good old Buttons Big Boom Boom. He will not have the chest gun feature. And that is something that was clarified to me. They had to make decisions. They would have had to make them too small. The feature is barely working in the 6-inch scale. For the vintage figures, it was not going to work for this. So that is a feature that a lot of people are probably going to be disappointed in, but it's still a great looking figure. Do a little bit of cheating right here. There is Roadblock, the vintage figure, and how he looked, which I thought he was a cool looking figure the way he was. The white jacket and all that, but he probably is supposed to be wearing the silver. And yes, the silver does look cool. The newer updated glasses look cool. It looks cool. Is it accurate to the show? That's kind of what I'm most concerned about. And I'd be in on this. I think it's a really cool looking figure. Overall, yeah, good looking figure. Now, let's see what Roadblock was a driver, so he didn't have a card back. So this will be a first card back Roadblock. Now he was, the way they did it, Hasbro did the same with Joe, where they would just kind of blister them onto a piece of cardboard or a file card. In some cases, they got a file card. Some of them, in the G.I. Joe, got a file card on the outside. I do believe these have the file card on the outside of the main box, and I think it's just like brown on the back of that yellow backer for the pack-in. Hopefully looks good in editing, but I'm going to showcase that this figure does look different. His suit does not have like the pointy shoulders, his collar doesn't go up quite as high, and he has some like dark patches on his shoulders, and he has different color sort of lower leggings over the shoe, which he has it in the other one, but this is just purple or darker color than in the vintage one. Very similar, except not as exaggerated, more realistic looking than the vintage one. The vintage one was exaggerated partially because of the gimmick, where the chest guns come out of the chest. The front flap folds down, chest guns come out. You can see it in the artwork. Here is the figure in the packaging, and get an idea of what the packaging artwork could look similar to with that. And this is another one that's probably a little tricky to get carded in good condition because the figure is fun. But I do believe, like, it was so hard to get those little chest guns. Some people might have just bought carded ones and opened them up for their collection, especially after the 2020 collecting boom. Now, back at a toy show, I did get the opportunity to look at this figure, and I thought it looked pretty good. I did feel like it looked a little bit plain in the prototype phase, and it just wasn't ready to be shown. I wasn't allowed to do a video of it or anything, but at least I was able to take a picture, and we discussed it, talked about the future of the line, and the reason why this is not cheap to make, and we need backers, supporters, so that this line will continue. And there's got to be enough interest in it for it to continue, or else this won't go into production. But still, it was a lot of fun to get to see it firsthand. And I bought my Sundown at that point in time. All right, there's a lot of good stuff going on with Cops and Crooks. I will admit that we're getting two different scales from two different companies, and it's actually going to turn out pretty good as long as there's support for it. Now, there's only 29 total characters. I have a feeling that we're going to see most of that, if not all of that, from the Bigbad toy store, the Bigbad toys. I have a feeling we're going to see that. But it's quite possible they'll get into some of the unreleased characters from with the later series that never got released, that was only teased at, and probably the female characters. I mean, we've got the Mainframe or something like that. I don't even know the names of the female characters, but I would enjoy seeing the line expanded. And with these being just a little bit bigger than the vintage figures, I think that it would fit. If they made new characters, the new characters would fit in your vintage displays. I knew if I kept trying really hard and I drank my milk, I'd grow up to be someone that could find female characters in Cops and Crooks and Misdemeanor, Nightshade, and Mainframe. But what do you think about these new releases, these figures that are coming in both scales. Are you excited for them? Are you going to pick them up? Or did you miss out on the Bulletproof and are excited to get them? Let me know in the comments below. Are you planning on getting the 1/18th scale? Are you going to back that? Because I'm going to link it down below. Got to back them now so it'll get produced or it won't get produced. It's not really a backing campaign. It's just pre-order it. And if enough pre-orders, it gets made. That's how it works. You can see back in the back there, Barricade and Blockade. And we've got some other stuff coming. Barricade and Bullet be coming next if we can get Chicken Fried Toys figures made. But let me know in the comments below. Like, subscribe. Happy Retro Wednesday. Teddy Hanger out.